Go to that man again, Biden, in trouble again. 7 days ago, Biden was asked, are you willing to get involved militarily to defend Taiwan if it comes to that? Listen to the Biden question and response.
You didn't want to get involved in the Ukraine conflict militarily for obvious reasons. Are you willing to get involved militarily to defend Taiwan if it comes to that?
Yes.
You are.
That's the commitment we made.
Oh, Peggy, I mean, this bloke, honestly, I'm sorry for all Americans. That was during his visit to Japan with the Prime Minister Kishida, and Biden, without the auto cue, said he'd be prepared to use force to defend the island nation against China. Peggy, that goes much further than America's involvement in Ukraine and deviates from the traditional strategy used in Washington to remain ambiguous about such a sensitive issue. How did this go down in America?
Well, everything Joe Biden does and says is ambiguous, but it's not strategic ambiguity like we talk about. And this actually is the policy. America has a policy that it will defend Taiwan. Now, how we describe defending is very different. And it doesn't necessarily mean boots on the ground, but it does mean that we stand in support of Taiwan's autonomy. And so even though the White House backed it up, his statement actually had quite a lot of bipartisan support.
Yes, I mean, he was asked, you didn't want to get involved in the Ukraine conflict militarily for obvious reasons. Are you willing to get involved militarily to defend Taiwan if it comes to that? And we heard him say, yes, that's the commitment we made. But Peggy, apart from this being a shift from the traditional notion of strategic ambiguity, which you alluded to, a policy designed to minimise the risk of a direct conflict with China, which views Taiwan, of course, as part of its territory, despite never controlling it, Biden asserted the US has a commitment. That is the commitment he made. Now, Peggy, isn't it true that the US has no mutual defence pact with Taiwan? That even the 1979 Taiwan Relations Act, which is often cited by the administration, commits the US to provide weapons and other support, but doesn't carry an obligation for military intervention if China invades. So, Peggy, what is the policy? Is it the president's policy or the bureaucrats' policy?
Well, there is ambiguity, which is very confusing to a lot of people. And Joe Biden, I don't think even knows his own position.
No.
Ironically, in 2001, when President Bush was president, he talked about Taiwan and our obligation to defend it. Joe Biden, who was senator then, actually wrote an op-ed saying that we reserved the right to defend them, but we didn't have the obligation to defend them. And now in 2022, here he is saying the exact opposite thing. So the world is sensing weakness. Xi is definitely sensing weakness, and that comes not from a policy change, but from Joe Biden himself.